This is the 40U Tech Startups podcast. The podcast in which you hear all about the startups and spin-offs from the 4 technical universities in the Netherlands. From the challenges they face to the ecosystems they accelerate in, here we talk about what it takes to flourish and make impact on an international playing field. Brought to you by the 40U. Welcome to the Dutch 40U Tech Startups podcast. I'm your host Vera Boertien today, and today we're here in Slushy Helsinki to talk about how to hack Slush. And with me I have 3 founders from 3 different universities. Can you just introduce yourself for a bit?
Yeah, thanks, Vera. Thanks for having me. It's very cold in Helsinki here, so nicely we are warm inside, so that's perfect. I'm Jeroen. I'm from Heimdall Sensor Intelligence, and we make sensors to measure the building material on the envelope of buildings. And we are currently focusing on the window pollution sensor. But I think we will talk about that more in a second.
Right, and you're from Eindhoven University,
Yeah, we're
right?
from Eindhoven University, indeed.
Nice. And you, Christoff?
Yeah, so I'm Christoff. I'm the co-founder of Flux Robotics. We help surgeons to treat blocked arteries using magnetic navigation technology. We're based in Enschede, and so I'm from the University of Twente, a spin-off from the University of Twente.
Thank you. And Coen, how about you?
My name is Coen van der Brand, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Cryocop. Cryocop has co-founders from multiple universities. I am coming from Wageningen University, but we also have people from TU Delft. And we work on a carbon capture technology.
Great. So we have 3 different startups in 3 different fields from different universities. But there's one thing that you have in common, and that is that you already went to Slush. Now, this is my first time here in Helsinki and at Slush. So maybe to start off with, what is it that I can expect? Why Slush? Why go there? Who wants to take it?
Well, I can start. I think we all have our own experiences. For me, that it's quite nice that we are already here a week in advance or a few days in advance to join the entire 40U mission. So as a delegation, you visit the Consulate General, you go to the embassy, you visit the city, you have a bit more of experience that you learn more from Helsinki and the Finnish people and their culture. And so that actually gives you a nice foundation to go to Slush, to the conference on Thursday. And I think that's something you don't necessarily would experience if you would attend outside of being part of the 40U group.
Right. Yeah, because the thing that I often hear is don't go to Helsinki in November. But you actually say that it's worth it still.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, going here as a on a holiday or as a tourist, I can get where it's coming from. But if you're here as a group and regardless of how the weather is outside, you are here to learn and you are here to meet other people. And that's always a great experience and a great feeling.
Right. So, Coen, what is your reason to join Slush?
There's a couple of one. And obviously, Slush is a very good event for meeting investors and founders. So we look out for those kind of connections. Even if you're not raising funds at this point, it's very valuable to start connecting with potential investors to do some connecting, see how it matches. We also look out for actually clients here. So we try to target communities or people or VCs that might have contacts within our industry. And we also like to work with other startups. In our case, the product that we make, which is CO2, or one of the components, can also be used by other startups. For instance, they utilize it, they make a new product out of it. And these companies we also try to find here. So altogether, there's a couple of good reasons to come here. And one thing I just want to mention is that next to the people you meet on Slush, you will also meet a lot of Dutch entrepreneurs or people from the system that travel with you. And that also boosts a lot of valuable connections when you're back.
Right. So actually going to Helsinki also improves the connections that you can make with Dutch people.
Yes, for sure, 100%.
Right. And how's that for you, Jeroen? What is your reason to join Slush?
Yeah, I think that's a perfect answer by Coen. I noticed this myself, so I also went to a collision in Toronto, and there I met Christoff as well. And you notice that if you are with a group of Dutchies in a foreign country, then somehow these connections get like way quicker and more real than if you just meet in the Netherlands. So that's a very magical process that happens over there. For us, Slush is mostly to meet investors. So we luckily got a notification today that we can go to an investment committee on the 12th of December. So our pre-seed round is most likely then, but you need another round in around a year. And we already want to meet like investors that are in our field, so in a prop tech. And instead of just contacting them in 9 months, like really cold, you can already make those connections right now. And if it's really necessary, you already have the connections, and then you just flow in way easier. So that's mostly for us why we are here.
Yeah, so similar to what Coen said.
Yes, indeed.
And you also mentioned Collision in Toronto, which is also a big startup event. What's the difference with Slush and Collision? Because Slush, it kind of has a vibe. It has a certain name. So what is the Slush magic?
That's very cool. But I first want to say like the big difference is 30 degrees. That's a really big difference. But I think it's more VC/founder focused, and at Collision there were also many other different companies, you know.
I can add to that.
I'm looking at Christoff.
I think we had some fellow founders that also attended both, and Slush and Collision, they have some different similarities in regards to how big it is and how many startups there are. There's also thousands of startups that want to raise, but I think what Slush adds is just this vibrancy. When you walk into Slush, you have these neon lights everywhere, just the colors, it just makes you feel that you're almost walking into a techno party in some sense, right?
Right.
And we didn't have that at Collision, actually.
Yeah, it's also like it's very cold outside. It's very cozy when you come inside, and then everyone is happy and just starts talking, connecting. So that makes it very cool. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, so that helps as well. Yeah. And then from what I understood is that you don't just buy a ticket and then go to the conference. Like, I see you shaking your heads. There's a lot more that goes into it, right? Coen, can you go into that a bit?
Yeah, preparation is really key here. And event, you start to get prepped maybe 2 months ahead of time. It's very busy and sometimes even overwhelming to be at the event. So I think it's very important to come here prepared. So have your agenda set up, your meetings planned way ahead, even a couple of weeks of time. So you have also some space to change maybe an appointment or get a little bit deeper into another person. And there's lots of things to do. So of course meeting people, but also there are side events and there are workshops and even to grasp all of that, you should start early. Yeah, I think that's very important.
Right. And I want to go into the side events later on. But first, when we were pre-discussing this podcast, Jeroen, you mentioned something about your preparation and how it was very different this year than last year. Can you share something about that?
Yeah, 100%. So I was already nodding when Coen was talking, indeed. So last year, I was kind of, okay, we just go with the flow. We just go over there and we will meet some investors and talk to them, and it will all work out fine. But I really learned that you have to do your preparations. So, for example, I now shoot out like 50, how do you say them?
Meeting requests.
Meeting requests, indeed. And I got like 10 responses. So that was very nice. But that really helps. So we already set up like 10 meetings with VCs. And that's something that I did completely different compared to last year. So I'm really happy with that.
So last year you just bought a ticket and went to the conference.
And now I have this mentality of prepare. But still you can also meet like people over there, of course, spontaneously, but preparing is key.
Right. Yeah. And how's that for you, Christoff? How was your preparation?
I had the same experiences in the beginning, because you think, it will just happen for you. And if you have a good pitch, then that's all you need.
Right.
But what is really important is to keep your focus, because you also get requests from others. Hundreds of messages, promises, people trying to upsell you in some way or another. And as a new founder, you sort of don't want to say no to these opportunities, because you might think that this is one opportunity that could lead to a next and so forth. And so you always say yes. But that is definitely a straight path to just being overwhelmed and actually coming back with fewer answers than what you went to Slush. So that was my experience the first year. And then indeed I decided also to stick to one focus point. It all depends also on what stage you are. So if you're raising for a seed round and you need to talk to investors that focus particularly in your discipline in that seed round, then these are only the people that you reach out to. Don't think of any other opportunities yet. Just focus on those investors. Go to Slush, meet them, and come back with some good leads.
Right.
And so that's also something I think I improved on the second round.
Maybe I can add like a little bit to this. So I completely 100% agree with Christoff. For us, for example, we are a hardware startup. So you have this Slush tool where you can see like all the investors and you can tick these boxes. And for us, we don't even bother with software. So, and then you already like reduce your population by 50% roughly. So if you talk to an investor and he's not in your area, so you have only 48 hours at Slush, right? So make the most out of it. And if he's not in your area, still be polite, of course, but maybe try to go to the next investor. Because also bit rushing, like you have 48 hours and you have to make everything out of it. So don't waste any money or any minute on talking to investors that are not in your area.
So that's why the preparation is so important.
And that's why the preparation is key as well.
Yeah, and it starts with a goal, right? So that if maybe you come with the idea that there's all sorts of leads there, but it really helps to have a goal that fits your situation.
Right.
And so don't have an idea or what you could get there or what the event is about. Just try to focus on what you need right now and then target that.
Yeah.
And there's so many opportunities that it can also extend maybe what you usually expect from it. But keep it close to yourself, and then there's plenty of things to pursue.
Yeah, and if the answer to if there's an opportunity, you say, well, this would be nice to have. If it's a nice to have, then just don't do it. Focus on what is necessary right now.
I see the others nodding in agreement.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because it is difficult, right? Because you tend to be a yes person, right? So
I mean, you are an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah,
so you like to take risk and discover new things.
Yeah, and you have had opportunities in the past where random conversations with someone that you never thought would have been helpful to you actually turned out to be helpful. So you have it's this balance.
Yeah,
and you always have to stick to that.
Isn't that also where the side events are for? Because I wanted to come back to that. And I think that the side events are where the serendipity happens, right?
Exactly. So there are some instances, and we also said, right, when you're queuing for coffee, when you're queuing for the bathroom, when you're at the side events, at the bar, at the karaoke bar especially, that's when you all are relaxed, right? You're in no stress, you're in no pressure to pitch your idea within 1 minute. You're all relaxed. You talk about your life. You talk about your personal experiences. You actually just describe what your life situation is right now.
Right.
And then in some way the company does come in.
Yeah, right? Because the company is obviously a very big part of your life.
Exactly. And then it's natural. And then you also learn how the other person is and what type of personality that person has and how you respond to that.
Yeah, completely. To add to that, my biggest lesson in networking was like, firstly, just talk about what their hobbies are. So, do you like diving? Do you like skiing? And maybe you like skating, something like that, and just build a conversation on that, build trust, and based on that, if you have that trust, if you have that connection, then you can maybe mix in some company stuff, but don't start with it. Really start with just like, how are you? How's your life? What do you like to do? Those type of questions that really helps.
Is that the same for you, Coen?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's also important indeed to stay relaxed and even take a break, for instance, now and then, and just stick to yourself, because if you want to attend everything, that's going to be impossible. So follow your own feelings, and it's normal. I think it helps to have human conversations, right? And at some point you maybe need to target and double down on the content, but it's about connecting. And that is also, for very much extent, there's a personal touch. One of the reasons we also come here is actually to do that. So to talk to multiple people, to see where we actually match, where we connect on our values, so that we can say, hey, if we want to invest or if we want to raise, we want to do this with a company or with persons where we relate to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because eventually you have a relationship with these people for a few years.
Yeah.
And you need to be transparent from the very start. So, transparency is key. Then you can actually see that someone understands your needs rather than, overselling it or being too exaggerated about the value what you bring.
Yes.
Just keep it simple,
authentic.
be transparent, be yourself. And then they can also just relax, because it goes both ways, right?
Mm-hmm. I think those are really nice tips on how to hack Slush, so to say. So to wrap it up and to finish off, I would like to hear very briefly, what did you get out of Slush last time, and what are you hoping to get out of it this time?
Oh, yeah, very interesting that you firstly point to me. No, what we learned from Slush last year is also really how to network. So, these tips that these guys gave, maybe you think when you're listening, like, okay, that's very practical, right? It's very, very, how do you say that? Yeah, and then you just do that, but it's like really some sort of dance that you have to learn. So I think we learned that last year. And we also had some really valuable connections that we are still going to visit this year again. So I think those were the two biggest lessons for us.
So you learned how to dance, and now
I
you're going to keep dancing.
And I want to keep dancing, of course, yeah.
Great. Speaking of dancing, Christoff.
Well, for me, it's more singing, as you are aware. So I definitely found a love for karaoke in Helsinki. But what Slush did bring me is two things in the past. So we had one really good conversation with investors that are willing to step in at a later round. So that's always nice, because then you can keep them in the loop and you can keep them updated on your progress.
Very valuable.
And that investor we met at Slush. And then, of course, since we are focusing a bit more on the robotics, there is a manufacturer of these robotic arms that we also met here, and with whom we have now a really strong partnership.
Nice. And this year?
This year, I hope to fish out some more of these investors that could help us with later rounds, and that's my only purpose.
Nice.
But, yeah, one thing, like I said, just focus on one thing. Yeah.
And Coen?
A couple of things. Also experience, for sure. Getting your pitch out there, maybe presentations, how do you engage in that conversation? A lot of leads, investor leads on an international scale, so outside of the Netherlands, but for a large extent also connections within the Netherlands. So within the startup ecosystem, people we continue to talk through the entire year, people we see now again, reconfirming that relationship. That's what we really got out of there. And for this year, we focus on preparing for a later investment round. I think that's a good place to do it. And and also find leads into our clients network. So we're trying to broaden our different pillars and extend our reach.
Great. Well, I hope you all managed to accomplish those goals. Thank you all for sharing your story, Jeroen, Christoff, and Coen. I thought it was very valuable, and to me, I just get even more excited about experiencing my first time at Slush. So thank you for that, and good luck this week.
Thank you.
Thank you for hosting.